Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Amy Wolf. I'm the programming coordinator for the Osterville Village Library. Thank you so much for being here today on this absolutely stunning Thursday, just beautiful. And to our friends joining us on Zoom, thank you so much for being here as well. Today, we are honored to have with us longtime generous friend of the library, Susan Ferriman Jenkins. Sue is no stranger to adversity. Having been widowed for a third time, Sue has experienced her fair share of life's challenges. However, she has emerged from these experiences with an empowering message to share. In this talk, What Do You Do at 5 o'clock? Sue will share her secrets on how to simplify, organize, and manage your life going forward, from the financial to the personal and everything in between. As a well-known artist, Sue brings a unique perspective to the table, combining creativity with practicality. Her uplifting message is sure to leave you feeling inspired and ready to take on whatever life throws at you. So without further ado, Sue Ferriman.
You do at 5 o'clock. Many of us know that it's not the best time of day because you've done all your stuff, you've gotten everything done. And it's 5 o'clock, and if you're alone, you say, now what? It's kind of a sad time, actually. So I want to help you get to 5 o'clock. So there's 5 o'clock. And here's where we're starting. So we have a long way to go. So, just to give you a little background, I went to a seminar 3 years ago now in Florida, and it was for people that were alone. That's fall time. And I went, and it was very good. There was a moderator, and a financial planner, a medical expert, and a real estate agent. And they went through their, little bit of information on. It was very good. I came away with 2 things. That's all you have to do when you go, remember that, 2 things. And, but I'm driving home. And I said, well, no one talked about us. We weren't represented. We didn't have a voice in all of this. So the next day, I started writing on my Post-it notes, and I could add to it, move them around, delete them. And I did this over 3 months. And I think I honestly did it for myself. It was very good and a cleansing thing to do. And so I started writing, and this is what I came up with. So first, we all came in this afternoon. You forgot to call the dentist to change your appointment. You've got to make a hair appointment. The plumber is late, and now you're late, and you don't have any dog food. So I want you to put all those things right here, and give them to your neighbor. They're gone. You don't have to worry about them anymore. So what do you do? How do you even wake up? I think there's a choice. I think happiness is a choice. And I think that you have to set your mind in that direction. So the first thing I do, and I did it this morning, I look in the mirror and I say out loud, 3 things I'm grateful. We can all do it. Even on the worst of days, the darkest days, there are 3 things you can think of that you're grateful for. And they change every day. You're grateful that your kids are happy. You're grateful that the wedding plans are going okay. You're grateful that the sun is up. I'm never grateful when it rains. I'm grateful when the sun is. And sometimes I just say, I'm grateful I don't have to wash my hair. It could be as simple as that, right? So you're starting off in this trajectory of positivity. And it gets you going. And I'm a list maker. And I bet most of you are too. Now, we do our list, but sometimes we do them on a little piece of paper. No. And you need to get a book. And every day you say today's June. So this is August 10th. Thursday. You write down everything you have to do that day in a book, not on a piece of paper. And now there's carryover, usually there's carryover from sometimes several days, but you have a record of everything you've done. Now, on my list, I make sure I write down things I know I'm gonna do. Like go to that. I know I have to go to them, but I'm writing it down. Because at the end of the day, I need to check something off. I need to say, at least I went to the dump, you know, at least I went to the dump. But I write down the other things too that, you know, are a little harder to do. And we've all had to call Eversource. Ever called Eversource? Yeah, a lot of fun. So on your list, you do the hardest things first. Because then by the time you get down to the bottom, it's easy, right? So you have to, so when you call Eversource or Comcast, or Medicare, in your head, you just say, okay, I know it's gonna take an hour. Just clean slate, 1 hour, and then you're done with Eversource. So start your list, get it done, and at the end of the day, check a few things off, because it makes you feel good. Right. Now, does anybody have a birthday today? Oh my God. Peter Evans. So I believe in these books so much. I'm gonna give you a book. Now, does anybody else have a birthday today? You may have a birthday yesterday. You got one last year. Yes. Tomorrow, this week, next week. Your daughter, well, we might have to go at that level. Anybody have any anniversary? Right now, it's, here we go. You'll be happy. So on a number of occasions, I've had to look at it and say, now, did I really call that person and, you know, make that happen? Check mark, I did. Perfect. So get yourself to. And going right along with that, remember I said you do the hardest things first? So we're gonna do the hardest thing first. We need, as women in transition, whether we're alone or not, to get our financial, legal, and medical affairs in order. We need to be empowered to know everything medically, legally, and financially. And this is the most important thing we can do. Today, I wanted you to see two women in person. I'm a very visual person. And I want to introduce them now. Eileen Perry, and she's with Boston Hill Advisors, and Michaela Herlihy, she's with Beacon Financial, and Heather Lynch also. So these ladies, number one, they're professionals. Number two, they care about women. They care about women doing the right thing with their money. And it doesn't matter how much money you have. It's whatever you have to do the right thing with it. And their job, and you can nod if I'm saying it right, is to give you a plan of life. It is your plan of life, knowing what you have going forward, whatever that amount is. Then you know what you can do, or maybe what you should do. But I admire these women because, yes, it's their business, they're professionals, but they're doing it with the right mindset of helping women do the right thing. Agreed? Yes. And they also do, I love the fact they do pro bono work for people that can't afford those services. Again, they want to do the right thing for women. So pick your team. Part of the team is your financial plan. The second part of your team is your attorney. Now, a lot of times we've had our husband's attorneys. I did, and you know, I called him one day and I asked him, I thought it was a simple question. Well, 45 minutes later, I get off the phone. I said, did he answer the question? And what did he say? He was talking at me. he wasn't talking with me. I didn't feel like he was sort of on my side, if you know what I mean. So I decided to get a new attorney. And I found this woman right here in town, and her name is Jennifer Carey. And I went in, she said, bring all your stuff, you know, and so you go in with the stuff and my shoulders are up, you know, feeling a little defensive. And I sat down and she said, tell me your story. Tell me about you. I said, really? And I did a little bit. And then she said, how can I help you? My shoulders went down, the defenses disappeared, and I knew I had found someone that I can relate to. And this is what you need to do. Find that person, whoever that person is, needs to be the person that can help you. This is a complex situation. No matter how simple you think it is, it's complex. So the third part is you've gotta get the right CPA, same thing. Someone you can relate to, talk with, and meet with in person. You know, texts are great, you know, emails are great, face to face, right? Face to face is the, so then, okay, we're getting there. So now we need someone, oh, actually, does anyone understand Medicare? Oh, good. Well, these two do because they. And you, I'm very proud. So maybe 2 months ago, Rory Joyce, you can stand up, Rory. Oh, yeah. So Rory did a little presentation right at the library here, and it was all on Medicare. And she did it so nicely, simply for us to understand. I came away saying, oh, I think I know what Medicare B is. And then why am I still getting penalized because I didn't sign up for Medicare D? Did anybody do that? I'm still paying the penalty. And she just explained it in a way that we understood it, and supplemental insurance as well. So these are resources we have. These are good people that want to help us achieve our goals, to simplify our life, organize, and big thing, give us peace of mind. Peace of mind is no value. Peace of mind. And then a lesser, I'm glad he's not here. A lesser part of the team, you gotta get a handyman. You know, I can't do what I used to do. I sort of want to do it, but I shouldn't do it. And I can't do it. So I have a handyman, you do too, Frank, he's right here in town. And he's a great guy, and handyman is the moniker. So he'll say, don't call me with one thing. Call me with 4. Because they're stupid things. I call them the stupid things. And so he'll come over and do the 4 stupid things. It makes our life easier. And you know, our children are great, and they'll say, oh, no, Mom, I'll come down and do that. I sort of want it done soon. And their intentions are. So that's the hardest thing you can do. But, so that's their job, is to make the plan alive. Your job is to give them all the information, because they can't do it without all your sources of income, your debt, your expenses. You have to write down all your expenses. All of them. Home goods. Country gardens. How many times do you go to country gardens? Your art supplies. But then they can put all that together. Again, that's what they do. And give you the plan of life. Peace of mind. You can do it. I did. So those were the 2 hardest things you had to do. So along with that, well, no, this is hard too. I'm sorry. What do we do with all the stuff that we've accumulated? We've all done it for 30 years, right? Some of us were collectors. You know, I know someone that collected elephants. So everywhere she went, she got an elephant. Every person gave her it. She had 72 elephants. And so she loved them, you love them. And so what does she do now with the 72 elephants? Her kids really don't want 72 elephants. And you can decide either donate them, maybe you can sell them, that'd be good. But maybe it's time to let somebody else enjoy the elephants. And another instance of this, my very good friend, high school friend, called me from Portsmouth, New Hampshire. She lives in this 18-something house where you step out the front door and you're on the cobblestones. It's nothing. And you have dinner there with all the portraits, you think John Adams is gonna walk in. Yeah, it's wonderful, wonderful. She calls me up and said, Sue, Rick and I, we're gonna sell the house, we're gonna sell everything. It's loaded with gorgeous antiques. They've collected over the years, they've bugged it, they travel. And I said, how can you do that? And they said, it's just time. It's just time to do something else. And so they had an appraiser come in and they did it. They sold the house, they got rid of all these collections, decoy collections, unbelievable. And they moved to a beautiful apartment. And in Portsmouth, they can walk to all the restaurants, they're part of the downtown community. So I talked to her a year later, this is what I really wanted to find out. So Caroline, how's it all working out? She said, it's the best thing we've done. Best thing we ever did. It's very freeing. It makes you look forward and they're very happy. So what do we do with us? Now, COVID helped us out a little bit, remember? We were captive. So we cleaned out a few drawers, right? And a few closets. And I did my kitchen drawer, the ugly off the number. And then I did another drawer. And I realized I had 5 spatulas. 5. Now, some of them, the plastic, was terrible. They were melted off. And I said, I only need 2. My favorite spoon. Same thing with wooden spoons. How many wooden spoons do you all have? You need 2. So we can cut down. It's a decision, and it's hard, but you can do it. So my hairdresser, Lorraine, you might know Lorraine. She just tells it like it is. So last week she said, I just can't do it. I just can't do it. I said, what's wrong? She said, I inherited my mother's house. I love it, but it's filled to the brim with stuff. She said, I put it all in one room and I can't even open the door. And she said, I just closed the door. It's open on me. So I said, Lorraine, you're gonna have to do it. She said, why? And I said, well, I want you to go get a timer. This was my mother. And I said, set it for 32 minutes. Go in the room, do 2 boxes, close the door, and you're done, right? And then you have to do it again. But that's how you can get through it. You take it apart. You just take it apart. And it reminds me of how I learned how to ski very late, way too late. But I wanted my kids to have the experience. So I went to this, what I thought was a mountain. It wasn't that high. And I go up to the top of the mountain with this little ski instructor who looked to be about 14. And I got to the top and I said, I thought, why are we starting at the top? And he said, don't worry about it. Just don't look down. Okay. So he said, look 12 feet to the right. 12 feet to the right. That's where we're going. We're going to stop. Now I'll show you how to turn. Then we're going to go 12 feet over that way. And that's how we got down the mountain. We took it apart. So think about it. Any big job, you can take it apart and make small portions out of it, and it gets done. Amazing, just amazing. And how about all the paperwork? Don't y'all have a lot of paperwork? Now, there are a couple of men here, so they could close their ears. And I'm really sorry, but they save everything. They save every copy, and then there's a copy of the copy in case they lost the other copy. And then they save all the investment reports from 1987 in case they need to look at. Now, we all know call your financial advisor, and they're all online. So I went, I had to do it, had to get the big bags out and went, fill the bags with paper. And I was on my way to Staples, because they have, the shredder, it's good. And I had to stop at the bank. And there was, those big shredder trucks? I sort of hijacked the shredder. I've never told him. I told you that story. He was having a little break. And I knocked on his window and I said, I have all this stuff. And I'm on my, do you think you could take it? And he said, oh, sure, just terrific. He opens the truck up and he does the thing. I gave him $20 and I was the happiest person. Right? So you can get rid of the stuff. It's a job, but you can do it. So, don't get nervous. Live more. I told you 3 months I was right. So what about the friends in your life? Whether you're alone or we're getting a little older, the friends change a little bit. And it's okay. They come and go, right? And if you're alone, you find this to be much stronger. People you thought, maybe not. And it's a very hard time. You're in a new category. Sometimes it's not a fun category, right? And so I read recently, just recently, that friends are like a tree. You're the tree. Visual, you're the tree. You can do it. Some friends are like leaves. Leaves fall. And they just kind of go away. And that's okay. That's a category of friends. Then there are the branches. They're a little stronger. You have more of a relationship with them. They can break. They can break too. But you know where I'm going. Your real friends are the roots. You don't see them sometimes, but they're there. And you're there for them too. You're the truth. And we don't have a lot of them, because you don't need a lot of roots, but you need some. So I have a friend who's here that I'll probably embarrass. I don't. So she's been a friend to me and her husband throughout every sad episode in my life. And there've been a lot. And I have to tell her what a value she is. Thank you for being my friend. That'd be nice. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's important for us to know that I use this term age and stage, covers it all, right? We need to tell our stories. We all have wonderful stories to tell. And sometimes we never know. The saddest thing is when you read an obituary and you say, well, I didn't know she did that. I didn't know she was involved in that. I'm going to talk to her about that. That would have been interesting. So if the one thing you get out of my little talk is in the next few days, think about a friend you haven't talked to. Call them up. Just say, maybe you had a little kerfuffle or along the way or something. Call them up and just say, hi, I haven't talked to you in a long time. How are you? Yeah, you're going to be glad you did. And I came back from Florida a month ago, 2 months ago, and on my list in my book, call Craig. A few days went by, call Craig came back on the list because I hadn't done it. So I said, I gotta call Craig. So the previous weekend, I had taken my grandson to the Wendy's parking lot, drive, he's starting to drive. So we did the little things, you park in, you back out, you're not gonna hit anything on Sunday morning. So, and my grandson, Nolan, said, well, who taught you how to drive? And I said, oh, my friend Craig. So I called Craig. I knew he wasn't doing well, not well at all. And I said, Craig, I just wanted to call and say thank you for teaching me how to drive. I'm a pretty good driver. And he said, well, you could have listened a little bit. But I am an okay driver. And so we chit chatted and he's on oxygen. And we just had this little, and I could hear the smile in his voice. He was happy. And he died 4 days later. Oh my God. Now, I was really glad I made the call. Make the call. You'll be happy. Yeah. So, and then your family. So now if you're in this new category of life, you're alone or transitioning, your family changes a little bit. Now they're worried about, mom, is she gonna be okay? You know, is she all right? If she's, you know, getting a little feeble, all these things. And because of what we've done, we're now a little more empowered. You know, we've got our financials kind of in place, our legal, our healthcare. We've cleaned out a lot of stuff. We're feeling a little better. So my advice is to listen to what they say. We love how they help us, but remain your own person. Make your own decisions, and keep driving. So, oh, I like this part. How do we reinvent ourselves? And that's kind of a buzzword, right? Just reinvention. Have you heard it? Yeah. And a lot of us had to reinvent ourselves, and some of us can choose to reinvent ourselves. I had to reinvent myself. So, I mean, I went from making brownies for the church, in the PTA, and driving the kids to hockey every other hour, and to becoming the sole breadwinner of a family of 5 when I was 40. So I had to reinvent myself kind of quick. There was no trust fund stuff or checks coming in. There was no money. So I became a real estate professional and made it all work. And that's just an example of how we can reinvent ourselves. I have a couple of people here. Michelle said to me maybe 5 years ago, she said, you know, I'm going to have my own florist. I said, what? What are you talking about? She said, yeah, no, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And she has a thriving florist business. And the cutest little white truck, she had this little panel truck, I bet you saw it, covered in pink roses. It was adorable. So she's a great example of how you can reinvent yourself. Yes. And my daughter-in-law, Melissa, is here. She is still just working. She can't reinvent herself because she works 9 days a week. But her mother, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, said, I'm going to become a master gardener. Now, anybody that knows that's a big deal. It's like taking a college course. She knew everything about horticulture, insects and soils. And I had to admire it. She did. And here she was, a teacher and a mom, but now she's a master gardener. And 2 weeks ago, I called her and I said, Pat, what kind of a rose do I put in this thing with the sun and the thing? She said, oh yeah, just do that. So I just did that. I did what Pat told me to do. Right. And her husband, Tom, he was the superintendent of the Barnstable schools, phenomenal guy. And he was born and brought up on the Cape. So he knows Cape backwards and forwards. He became a tour guide for people that are coming from Omaha that have never seen the ocean. They've only heard about the Kennedy thing, so he takes them all around and he tells them about Provincetown. They don't know that the Pilgrims really landed in Provincetown, not in Plymouth first. And you know, they're spellbound by his stories, right, Melissa? But what a great reinvention. What a great reinvention. So you know, another time I had to reinvent myself. I went from, you know, this real estate person, and then in California, a real estate person. At an exciting time. When I worked with Clint Eastwood. And, my partner and I sold all his golf course properties and Pebble Beach properties, and he sent us great referrals. And so I was able to retire, and you say, oh, what am I gonna do now? And we've maybe all said that one time or another. And someone said, do what you love, and the rest will follow. So. Anybody that knows me knows I love golden retrievers. So I don't know how I found this person, but it happens. I met this person who raises puppies for a national organization for all the disabled, other than the blind. So I knocked on a door. The door opens, and there's a 4-month-old golden retriever with his little ears, you know. And I was tell me what to do, I'll do it. And so she came to the door, and I just said, what can I do to help you? And so I became a puppy raiser and reinvention. Think about how you can reinvent. Yeah. So, and I know you all can do it, and maybe you've already done it once or twice. So that leads to, how do you give back? I think it's the most important thing we can do in our lives now, as we get a little older. We're not old, by the way. We're older. Yeah. And we can give in so many ways. It can be financial, it can be time, or it can be expertise. We all have a little gift that needs to be uncovered. And my favorite story about that, and I'll embarrass her too, but it's okay. My friend Liz came back into town, and we're walking through the village. And she said, you know, I just love this village. I want to do something meaningful in memory of my father. And I said, oh, that's nice. She said, maybe you could help me with that. I said, be happy to. So we're walking, and I said, well, have you been into the library lately? She said, no. I said, well, just go in and take a look. Meet with Cindy. And I went and looked for books or whatever I was doing, and she came out and she said, well, you didn't tell me the library did all this. And she was astounded, right? It's the Harrods department store of libraries, right? You can take out a metal detector. I'm gonna do this. Wouldn't that be fun? But I don't want to buy one. But we're gonna take it out. And so she thought about it for a couple of days, and then she called Cindy and I, and she said, well, I want to name the lawn in memory of my father. And I said, oh, it's wonderful. Well, Liz gave $2 million to the library. And it's the most wonderful gift. And the gift keeps on giving. Because every time she comes into town, she's driving through and she sees the rock with her father's name on it, Calvin C. Gould. And she'll say, I know he loves that I did this. What a story, right? Now, we all can't be Liz's. We'd like to be, but we can all do our own. And it's finding the thing that fits for you of how you give back. And a lot of people, or not a lot, but I know this wonderful woman who loves infants. She loves, so she goes to the hospital and she rocks the baby. And she goes back out and she said, oh, it's a wonderful, wonderful thing. You can go walk the dogs, the MSPCA. They need people to do that. You don't have to clean out the cages. You can volunteer at the library. They need volunteers. In so many areas, you can find a fit. Sue volunteers. Yep. You can think about the church. The church needs people all the time. The church provides, as well as the library, a sense of community, which is the other thing we need at this stage and age of our lives, right? We need people. You can't be alone all the time. So think of how you can give back. So this golden retriever puppy, remember how I love the Goldens? So he went through the program, 2-year puppy raising program, and then they go to college, essentially. You know, professional training, because they know 30 commands. More than any of my husbands. And so this gorgeous Casmire, he didn't graduate. We would be bereft. It was like your child flunking out of college. And he was released from the program. But I could adopt him because I had helped raise him. And so he knew 30 commands, believe me. And we said, oh, and there's a puppy right here. He's listening. He is. She. And so Kaz and I, we gave a therapy team for the Shriners Hospital for Children in California. And we did it for 5 years. He was known as the living teddy bear. How he could get under his tubes and the wires, and he'd cuddle up with them, and they would feel normal for that visit. He was an unbelievable dog. And then we worked at Spalding Rehabilitation Hospital in Sandwich. So he had a 10-year working career. Yeah. Reinvent yourself, you can all, right? So what do we do going forward? See, I have to look at my notes. Well, think about what we've done. We've organized everything. We've gotten rid of stuff. We are now choosing our friends. We want to be around people that we want to be around. We don't need negative, judgmental, critical people in our life right now. We're vulnerable. So we've surrounded ourselves with good people. We've gotten rid of all the stuff. We're maybe reinventing ourselves or not. And what do we do now? We take care of ourselves. So many times, again, the men can't hear this. We're the givers, you know, we're always giving to everybody else. And that's our choice, we want to. But maybe it's time for us. Maybe it's time for us to take care of ourselves. And it's hard because that's not the norm. But I say it's time. So before we do that, there is one elephant, not the ones that you would call in the room. And it is grief. How do we handle grief? I think grief is like a fitted sheet. Nobody knows how to do it. You don't do it right. You do it different every time. Sometimes you just roll it up and put it in the laundry closet, right? So there is no right or way to do this. And there's no time limit of what's right. It's only what's right for you. And it's different for everyone. I've lost, several people, 3 phenomenal people in my life. Father of my sons at a very young age. And actually at this time of year, think about the graduations, the weddings, the little soccer tournaments. Don't I wish you were right by my side, experiencing this with me and seeing his phenomenal 3 sons, what they've become, husbands, fathers, sons to me, and great responsible human beings. He missed it all. And that makes me sad. Yeah, makes me sad. So grief, we have to handle it the best way we can, here and right now. And we do the best we can. And I also think it's like an ocean. We can all relate to this. Sometimes it's calm, serene, it's navigable. And sometimes it's so rough, so tumultuous, so overwhelming and non-navigable. We have to honor that. I have a friend that just lost her husband. And the last thing they could do was drive to the Dairy Queen. He was declining. So they went to the Dairy Queen. And she told me just 3 weeks ago, she said, I can't even drive by the Dairy Queen. You know, it's painful. Yeah. So we've all experienced that. We're all in it right now, some of us. And my advice is do the very best you can, right? And so back to what do we do now? You wondering why the oranges are up there? Not bad. That means you're paying attention. So I say, don't eat that terrible orange juice. Have fresh oranges, right? Squeeze it, just cut them. They're wonderful. Time. And we all love bread. Don't you love bread? You heard of Dave's Killer Bread? No. Now, it's not only good, it's good for you, but he's quite a story. He's a convicted felon. And he is now, of course, a multi-million-dollar bread maker. But it's a great product. So we all love bread, eat the best bread. And have the best ice cream. Don't have that discount, just go for it. New York super chunk. Yeah, just, yeah. When you know that, dish towels that people give us as little hostess gifts that we put away, this is one. I got this probably 2 years ago. Use it. Start using the guest towel. Right. And then, the Nike box, it's a little beaten up, but my grandson, I said, do you have anything that says Nike on it? So I think so. So this one, yeah. So in 1988, Nike came out with the most successful slogan in the history, this is what I read here, in the history of advertising. Just do it. Just do it. Think about it. They didn't tell you what to do, how to do it, when to do it, how long to do it. They said, just do it. So we do have to do it. So we can do whatever we want. We don't have to, no one has to tell us what to do, just like Nike. I really recommend that our age and stage, remember that term, that you do something that involves strengthening, flexibility, stretching, and balance. This is what we need going forward. Be strong, to be able to do everything. And my good friend, Paul Howard, was supposed to be here today. He's our Osterville yoga guru. And Paul's not 37 years old. He's of our age, so he understands what we need. And he instructs us in a way that we know why we're doing it, right? He really does. So he was gonna be here, but he couldn't be here. But, so do something for yourself that involves those things. And I am reminded, unfortunately, Liz, she's taking a look today. So Liz came to me, or we were talking a year ago. She said, I can't stand it. I said, what's wrong? She said, I cannot ski in Colorado anymore. Yeah. And I said, I'm sorry. And you know what I'm saying. I do. So then I said, oh, I really wasn't that sorry. You could tell. And I said, are you the same person that 3 weeks ago rode in a 30-mile bike race through the 5 boroughs of New York?
44.
44.
Not to brag.
And she said, oh, yeah. And I said, I rest my case. You know, be happy with what we can do. Don't worry about, what we can't do. And be grateful for what we can do at our stage and age. And it's important to think about our age in relation to what we can do, but also how we have to stay connected. You cannot survive anymore without computer knowledge and all the technology. And if you need help, the library, again, is a resource. You know, if it's too overwhelming, they have people, you can do it one-on-one, but you've got to now be connected, right? And so a year ago, I was advised, Sue, I think you need an Apple Watch. I sort of liked my other watch. And I said, okay, I'll get one more device that I have to charge, figure out how it all works. I said, oh, I don't want to do this. So Cindy, of course, said, get the watch and I'll set it all up. So she did. She was great. So 3 nights later, happily sleeping, the red light goes on and a guy says you have to stand up now. So now I'm talking to the watch in the middle of the night saying, it's the middle of the night. I don't understand. Can you call me later? And so I went trotting up to the library in the morning. I said, tell the guy to stop. And he has not done it. And I think it is good. And when you think about if and when you ever need an EKG, and you can record it from your watch to the doctor's office, I mean, is that miraculous that can happen? I think it is. So stay connected. It's important. And the other thing is, you know, how we used to, for preface to that, we are the multitaskers of the universe. Women, think about it. You know. And we don't get a lot of credit for that. But, have you ever heard of an award for the multitasker of the year? There's an award for everything. There's no award for that. So I remember once I had a baby on my hip. Some of you can relate to this. Baby on my hip, the toddler chewing on the puppy's toy, and the dog chewing on the Gucci loafer. So picture the scene, and I'm stirring, getting the formula, right? And the phone rings. Oh, hi, Mom. Mom says, oh, hi, dear. How's your morning? And you say, oh, it's fine. Well, I just wanted to check in. I'm off to play bridge and lunch with the girls. You remember Eleanor and Lisa? Oh, they all say hello. I said, oh, that's good, Mom. And have a nice day. So you get off the phone and you're saying, I just want to get through the next half hour, right? And try to figure out our life. So we can't maybe do that anymore. But we still multitask, if you think about it. And we're very good at it. We're very good. So back to what's good for us going forward. All right, we're gonna use them all, right? Get them all. You know, the candles that you never use, you put them away, right? Get the candles out. So the other statistic that I want you to remember is there are 365 days a year. 122 of them we sleep. Is that amazing? So sleep on the very best sheets you can afford. Doesn't matter, ones you can afford. And get a satin pillowcase. They are unbelievable. Just feel it. $9.99 is home. Right? So those are things you can, because we're so now empowered, we've done a lot today. We can now make decisions. Because we feel good about ourselves, you know, we're feeling stronger. And there's some big decisions that might have to be made. Maybe we downsize our house. Maybe we move to a condo. Maybe we explore independent living, not assisted living, independent living, which offers a community of life, which sometimes we need. Maybe we move to an apartment and free up all that money that is our asset in our house to allow us to travel and use. And maybe we get a dog. I'm almost there. Almost there. Or maybe we do online dating. Don't laugh, it works. I know several people that have found a companionship. And it's hard to meet people in this day and age, don't you find that? Yes, so there's some good success stories. Michelle and I know one, great one, right, Carolyn? Yeah. And so, my friends, when I was living in California, they said, "Sue, you gotta do it." And I said, "No, I'm not." But finally I did. So, you know, you have to get a picture, you know, the picture thing. So I had my golden retriever use 3/4 of the shot. I was a quarter of the shot. We sort of look alike. And so, but I sort of, you know, I didn't meet the man. We talked, you know, emailed. We had a lot of things in common. I thought, well, okay, I'll go meet him. So we agreed to meet, and I got there first, so I was sitting down. And he walked in, he had a nice smile, and he said, "Oh, I thought your hair was longer." Oh, geez. I said, "No, it's short." And that didn't go off. So, but I had the presence of mind, and I don't know where I got it, because we never can do it at the time. I said, "I thought you were taller." Very short. But I did it, so, and I don't shy away. And the other thing, I read, recently that women are doing is, their house share. Now you have to find like-minded women, but I don't think it's impossible. And you get 4 or 5, you get the right house, but then you get a driver who's gonna take you everywhere. And you get a cook who's gonna cook. And but you have a community of life. They're doing this in Oregon a lot. Yeah. But it's an option. It's not, it's a TV show. And the other thing that's sort of important that COVID really did a number on churches. You know, no one went to church, right? So reawaken your spirituality, you know? There's a community of people there that are good. So I think we got to 5 o'clock. Are you tired? Yeah. So, over the past 3 years, I've talked to countless women. And I said, what do you do at 5 o'clock? They said, I go to the movies. Okay. I take a walk on the beach. It's good for my soul. I go get a manicure, pedicure. It's good, right? I play mahjong. I play canasta. I go to Beacon Gardens and walk through the gardens. Have any of you done that? It's like being in England. It's beautiful. I just did it last week with my son. And he said, I didn't know this existed. It's acres and acres of gardens, and the way you've been there, it's beautiful. Yeah. And you don't have to buy anything, just walk through, right? It's good for your soul. So some people do jigsaw puzzles, because you can really get involved with. One thing I do, and I have to say, I love it. I make phone visits. So I text some friends ahead of time, usually they're my California friends. And I say, can you talk at 5 o'clock on Wednesday? And sometimes, and so we have a date. And sometimes we'll have a glass of wine, we'll talk for an hour. It's like having a visit. You know, I do it with my sister all the time. I'll say, okay, 5 o'clock. And but there are lots of things we can do. And I'd love to know some things that do at 5 o'clock. And then there are some times when I just have popcorn and a glass of wine. Call it a day. Yeah. So that's my story. Hope you liked it. Know that we have resources that you can call upon, even if you just talk to them. We're looking for peace of mind as we go forward. Yeah. Michaela, Heather, Eileen, and Rory. Yeah. And there's me. You can call me too. So thanks for coming. Thank you.